Hi guys, it's Combi, and today I'll be going over a few tips to save ink in your rooms. If you've ever built a room or even a dorm room, sometimes you get up to 99% ink and you sort of think, okay, well, I can't add anything else, but there's some tricks to help you save on the ink, and I'm going to teach you a few of those ways. If you have any additional ways to save ink that I haven't mentioned, please comment below. I always enjoy learning from different people. So let's get started. Okay guys, so I'm going to open up my Maker Pen and give you a few tips on how to save ink. Instead of using cubes, which could end up using a lot of ink, especially if you're using a lot of squares in your room, you could change to tube. And by doing so, you'll want to make sure you have uniform shapes checked off. Tube facets to 4. You increase your tube height ratio. And you have smooth tubes unchecked, and you'll get very similar square shape. That's one tip that I have. Another tip is if you are building multiple shapes in your room. So if I keep dropping the pen, and now all these should be unconnected to each other. So you'll see that right now I'm at 1.03% ink. So if I select these 3 objects and I merge the shapes, I'm all the way down to 0.36% ink. So that made a big difference. It almost made it a third of the ink that I had. So definitely merge your objects. Another tip that I have is to configure your objects, and you can change the physics mode. Some people will use environment just because, for example, a wall, they don't want someone to walk through it. But instead of doing that, we could change it to decoration. I'll show you how. So I'm just going to create a simple wall. And right now it's an environment, so I can't walk through it. Let me delete some of these other objects that I created. And all these guys save, for the most part, a small amount of ink, but if you're building a lot, it makes a big difference. So right now I'm at 0.35% ink. Now if I change this to decoration, they'll cut it almost in half to 0.18% ink. But now you're going to say, well, now I can walk through the wall. But one way to get around that is to go to your gadgets, other gadgets, invisible collision. And all you'll want to do is create an invisible collision where you don't want people to walk through. And yes, they'll use some more ink. So we're now at 0.23%, but before I think we were at 0.36%. So it made quite a difference. So now I can't walk through the wall, even though it's on decoration. For floors, you don't even have to have an invisible collision because no one could walk through it. And again, if you're creating a large structure with several walls and floors, I recommend merging all the shapes together to save you ink. Let's see what else we can. For the tubes, you can't perfectly replicate a sphere. You could sort of replicate sort of like a cylinder by going to increasing your tube facets, and you get sort of like a cylinder shape. So that's another way to save ink. Again, using tubes is extremely helpful. That's really all I had for today. So to sum it up, use your tubing. Try to set your objects from environment to decoration, and then add invisible collision. And don't forget to merge all of your objects. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Hope this helped.